Hello there. My name is Mickey Wright, and I want to welcome you to Beauty Superstars Talk, which is your backstage pass to experts in beauty. Thank you so much for joining us, and I want to welcome you back to our series on revisiting diversity in the beauty industry. Last year, many of the brands, let's go right there. Many of the brands made promises in order to make changes to become more diverse, more inclusive, and create more equity for Black beauty professionals and consumers. With the Black beauty educator community, which I'm part of, there were conversations regarding whether we should even want a seat at the table of majority white corporations and manufacturers in the beauty industry, or if we should instead focus on building and creating our own tables. Different people had different opinions, but one who leaned completely toward completely toward creating our own is my next guest, Weldon Bond. He is the founder of the Black Beauty Expo, which is sponsored to the show, Beauty Superstars Talk, and the Black Beauty Magazine. He has very strong opinions and conviction on the topic of Black entrepreneurship and the role it plays in our communities. I'm so looking forward to this talk, as Weldon is usually a behind the scenes kind of guy. And I'm excited for you to meet this man behind the brand and really see why I'm excited to have Black Beauty Expo as a sponsor and to work with them as their global education director. So for anyone who doesn't know, it's like this show was actually born out of the aftermath of the George Floyd murder last year and the racial tensions that erupted in the country and then around the world. They basically quickly spilled into the beauty industry. And for many months, I intentionally said George Floyd's name as I introduced the show. And as we sit here, 2 weeks from now will mark the anniversary of his murder. And so as we continue this month of really revisiting diversity, we're doing a check-in to see how are the brands doing with upholding their commitments. And we're just as committed to hold them accountable and here to make suggestions for next steps for anyone who may be looking for something practical to do. And at the same time, many of us are focused on building exceptional brands of our own. So one of the things I want to emphasize is that this is not a Black conversation. This is a beauty industry conversation. So everyone is invited. We invite you to bring your questions, your comments, your observations, as well as your challenges and your wins. So during this turmoil last year, it's like I actually had the opportunity to be on a couple of Zoom calls with other top Black beauty pros. Many of them had experienced, various forms of racial discrimination, some, feeling marginalized and some out and out discrimination. But they were such powerful people and were doing such amazing things. And none of what had happened had stopped them, any of us, I guess, and I left there feeling like so inspired and with the conviction that these stories just have to be told. And so I expanded my platform and I've been interviewing the best and brightest Black beauty bosses every week for almost a year. So before we meet with Weldon tonight, I want to invite you to join me this Thursday when I'll actually talk with podcast host and former beauty editor, Corinne Corbett. She's actually the host of the Start Right Here podcast, and she's a former editor-in-chief of Heart and Soul magazine and beauty director for Essence magazine. She spent time at Elle magazine. So when we talk about representation matters, much of what we see and how it's portrayed starts with those editorial decisions. So who's in the room really does matter. And so she'll have lots to share about that part of the beauty industry and why she's an advocate for advancing and increasing the roles that Black creatives play from behind the camera as well as in front. So be sure to catch my interview on her podcast. She interviewed me, and I really got a chance to tell my whole story. So people tell me that I don't tell it very much, so it's all in there. And it's called Start Right Here on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and wherever you take your podcast in. And so then we'll be going to next Tuesday and next Wednesday as we continue this conversation on revisiting diversity. So next Tuesday, I meet with editorial artist, licensed beauty pro, and visionary of 3J Productions, Jalea Pettis. And she advocates for equal opportunities and equal pay for all artists behind the scenes all the time. And so I'm excited to talk with her and get her perspectives. And also Wednesday, the next day, it's like we'll have a pop-up talk. It'll be a short one where we're going to meet with Jessica Kidd. She's actually the founder of Black Colorists Matter, and she was one of my first guests last year. So we want to hear an update, from her on how her business is going and also how the industry is treating Black hair colorists a year later. So it'll be a really exciting couple weeks, and we will actually close out on the day of George Floyd's murder, and that will be with the publisher of Hair in Motion magazine, Dominique Lunn. So we've got quite a lineup coming up for you. So I'm excited about this evening. I actually want to thank our sponsor for this exciting series, which is the Black Beauty Expo, which is the hottest show for Black creative entrepreneurs in the hair, fashion, photography, modeling, and makeup industry. Their next show is Sunday, August 1st in Atlanta, Georgia. It'll actually be a live show. And just for being here tonight, you're going to get a free ticket to the Black Beauty Expo. Woo woo. So I really did just say free. So be sure to stick around. So we'll give you all the details. So also make sure that you follow them at blackbeautyexpo.com or on Instagram at Black Beauty Expo. So that you can keep up with the latest news about the show and for special vendor packages. In addition, I mentioned before, but I'm the Global Education Director for Black Beauty Expo. So if you're interested in educating, please reach out to me. And in addition, I want to thank the Tees, which is a digital platform for all things hair, beauty, and pop culture, for their support around these important talks. They are in support of, our furthering this topic, having these conversations, and they actually had me on as a guest again on their podcast, Volume Up, to talk specifically about why this is such an important industry conversation. So it is available on Spotify, again, Apple, all of your favorite places for podcasts. And while you're there, definitely be sure to follow Beauty Superstars Talk. Our podcast is on all the channels. So thank you for being here. We'd actually love to know where you're from. So if you can drop it in the comment section, that would be great. And as I said before, every week I have the privilege to meet with amazing Black beauty bosses who are making their mark in the beauty industry. And more than a podcast, this is really a movement. And we want to encourage Black excellence, entrepreneurship, to preserve our history, and to bring healing to our industry. So if you are loving what we're doing here, it's like you can consider partnering with us, and you could contribute $5 or any amount, and you can even sponsor a deserving student or beauty pro with training. So just visit, beautysuperstars.com, and you can look for the red button. So before we jump into the interview, there's a couple more things I want to let you know about. One is the Savvy Salon Summit, which is a free 3-day virtual event to help you get your groove back after COVID. And I'll be teaching there along with 11 other incredible educators, and you're invited. It'll be hair and coloring, cutting, and I'll be talking about business, of course, with reinventing your salon biz for 2021. And if you're not sure you can make it for the full event, you can actually get an all access pass. It's only $47, and it gives you access to all the replays, unlimited, as well as a boatload of other bonuses. So check it out at the register. You can go to my Linktree, which is linktree.com/Mickey Wright, which is just 1K, Mickey, MIKIWRIGHT. And it's Sunday through Tuesday. It's starts on Sunday the 16th, this coming Sunday. And my session is at 1 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's on Sunday. And if you're ready to fill your chair while working smarter instead of harder, it's like you will not want to miss it. It is absolutely free. I think I mentioned that. So there's no excuses. So just sign up and join us, and we'll have a great time. So without further ado, I actually want to welcome my guest. Let me just see if I can put all these pieces together. Hello, Weldon. How are you?
How are you doing, Mickey?
Doing great. Super excited that you're here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be on the show with you.
Well, thank you.
I'm excited to finally see you live.
Okay.
Not physically, but
we're here.
live digitally.
Right. We're here. And
Awesome.
full disclosure for everyone watching is like Black Beauty Expo is the sponsor of our show, and Weldon Bond is actually the photographer. When you see my headshot and my other professional images where I'm throwing up the money and all that kind of good stuff, he's the photographer behind all of that. And we've known each other for quite a while. His full name, just for full disclosure, is Weldon Germaine Bond. So if I slip and call him Germaine, I'm actually talking to the same person. So just so you guys don't think I lost my mind while we're
Right.
while we're on. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. It's like I see you guys coming in here and saying hello. Everybody's saying hello to Weldon. So hello, and
hello.
Fele and Dewana, Sherbert Ratliff.
Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and we got Milestone, Marcy Miles, Milestone Realty. Whoop, whoop. That's my girl from Maryland, and she's actually from Philly, from your home.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to start just by sharing your bio, and then we will jump right in.
Awesome.
So Weldon Bond is a creative entrepreneur with over 25 years of experience as a publisher, producer, and photographer who specializes in the hair, fashion, and beauty industry. Weldon was first introduced to the fashion and beauty world at an early age in his mother's beauty salon, where he gained access to various fashion and beauty publications. And we are getting a little feedback now. Anything that's on or anything?
Let me see here. Let me just turn my volume down a little bit. Maybe that'll help.
Okay, let's see it. Let's try it again. So I'll repeat this part. But Weldon was first introduced to the fashion and beauty world at an early age in his mother's beauty salon, where he gained access to various fashion and beauty publications. His interest led him to study photography at the Art Institute of Philadelphia, where he was able to nurture his natural abilities while increasing his technical know-how. After graduating, Weldon spent many years elevating his style of fashion and beauty photography while also working with beauty professionals in the hair care industry. This experience later afforded him the opportunity to publish various style books featuring his work, most notably Black Beauty magazine. Weldon's influence in the beauty industry also led him to establish the Black Beauty Expo, which further solidified him as an authority in fashion and beauty. Whether in the studio or on location, Weldon continues to deliver stunning fashion and beauty imagery for consumers and professionals alike through his Atlanta-based photography and production studio, Weldon Bond Studios. Now more than ever, Weldon is dedicated to sharing his skills, knowledge, and years of experience with other Black creative entrepreneurs to help them reach their full potential. His current endeavors include the founding of the Black Beauty Institute and Black Beauty Bible, which are both designed to be a reimagined new standard of education and representation by and for Black creative entrepreneurs and the Black beauty industry at large. So we welcome you. Woo!
Thank you so much. I'll hit my unmute button. Hopefully, let me know if you have any feedback there.
Hopefully, I think right now we sound good. So we'll.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Mickey, for having me on. It's a privilege, and it's also an honor to be able to sponsor your show because we know that you're a real deal in the industry, and we love everything that you're doing and taking the lead on the show to really create a voice for us in the Black beauty industry as well as in the beauty industry at large. So we do recognize the passion that you have for that, and thank you for doing that.
Yeah, well, thank you. It's definitely my pleasure. It's like it's definitely something I feel like it's a calling. It's something that found me. So it's I am enjoying every minute of it. It's like I said, I've got like 5 years worth of people I want to sit down and talk to. So it's like we're just getting warmed up. So
awesome.
As we approach a year, so we appreciate your support and
absolutely.
Look forward to growing together. And so you are the son of a very wonderful hairstylist. And so tell us what that was like growing up in that environment, and kind of that feels like it may have been some of the soup that created some of the philosophies that you live by.
Oh, yeah. It was very interesting. Growing up with my mother in the beauty industry, around a lot of, now I'll call them creative entrepreneurs. In the beauty industry, and learning pretty much every aspect of the beauty industry, everything from washing the towels to buffing the floors, to answering the phones, to shampooing the hair. And I did try my hand a little bit at styling, but when she would reach her hand underneath and I didn't get those roots too good, I realized very early that this might not be my side of the industry. But I will say that coming up in the industry under my mom was really my first sight of an entrepreneur, especially in the beauty industry. And I would like to say that my first real entrepreneurial business came from being at a Sam's Club with her one day and noticing that the blow pops were only $7 at the Sam's Club while she was buying wholesale. And the box had 100 blow pops in there. I said, well, hold up. If I can buy these blow pops at $7 and I got 100 blow pops and they go for 25 cents in the 7-Eleven, I think I can make some money with this. So hanging out with her was awesome. And I started my little hustle on the side, I guess you would call it, just from being with my mom, doing what she does best. And that's kind of what my start was in my life at the early ages in the beauty industry.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I love that. And so she wasn't going to buy blow pops. You just happened to know they were there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay, that entrepreneurial mind clicked in.
Oh yeah, she's doing her thing, but my numbers are starting to add up. It's like, hold up, I'm normally paying 25 cents for these.
Right.
And I can't remember the year that Sam's Club opened, but you had to be a business owner. It used to be you had to be a business owner in order to get a membership to even go into Sam's Club. So because of her entrepreneurism and her being a business owner, we had access to that. I had never seen so much wholesale and the prices, and also, that was part of that experience at a young age.
Yeah, that's really cool because I think, it's like we do things, we work, like both of us have moms that are hairstylists, and just seeing and being around that atmosphere, it's like you kind of, for me anyway, don't really realize how much you pick up.
Right.
About being in business and about, just work ethic and some of those things. So what would you share with, other people who are, thinking about maybe I should start a business? 2020 has kind of rocked whatever the normal was for us. And it's like, it's time to look at some new avenues. And I know you're a big advocate of, entrepreneurship. So what types of things would you say to kind of consider or to get started?
I'll tell you something interesting, Mickey. Honestly, I think that most people already have what it is, whatever it is, I would say to them, because as a people, we were born hustlers by necessity of the conditions that we live in. Following your passion and your dreams becomes one of those things where you're most probably already doing it because of all the opportunities that we don't have. Oftentimes we're making our own opportunities, and that is a business. Surviving alone in and of itself is a business. So, for all those who are thinking about getting into business, I would say don't make it that deep. Follow your passions, do what you're already doing, and just get dead serious about it. That would be probably the number one thing I would tell them.
Yeah. So when you say get serious about it, what does that really mean? Because I know there's a lot of people that kind of, especially in the beauty industry, it's like we are creatives first a lot of times. And it's like we just kind of happen to fall into the business because, it is something that is entrepreneurial, but we don't really take the time to learn what we need to do on the business side. So what do you mean when you say get serious with it or take it serious?
Yeah, it's that thing where I'll say this. Let's say for all the photographers, models, makeup artists, hairstylists, and fashion designers, you are a creative entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur already. The problem that I see in the industry over the years is that, especially on the Black side of the industry, and as Black Beauty, I have to hit it from my perspective, we're not used to seeing ourselves as entrepreneurs. We're used to seeing ourselves as technicians. I'm a hairstylist. I'm a photographer. I'm a this, I'm a that. But the reality is that most of us have been entrepreneurs from day one. And so getting serious is seeing yourself a little bit bigger than what you might see yourself. Even if you graduated at the bottom of your class as a hairstylist or even as a photographer, what have you. And if you come out of school and let's say you're unable to get a job, you immediately start saying, let me hustle. Let me do my friend's hair. Let me do my cousin's hair. That's an entrepreneur. You're already an entrepreneur. So getting serious to me is just saying, see yourself as an entrepreneur. You don't have to wait for anybody to validate you. You're not waiting for somebody to give you an award. You know, you're really not waiting for nobody to put you on the stage. You are who you are now.
Okay.
So that would be my definition of getting serious about yourself. Take yourself seriously.
Wow. Okay. That's powerful.
Hope I'm not getting turned up too soon here.
Well, that's what we're
coming the door stirred up.
That's what we're here for. But walk us through, like you grew up in your mom's salon. It's like it sounds like you were into the beauty books and that type of thing. How did you get into photography, and then how did you start taking that seriously?
Yeah, actually, I did grow up looking at. I believe at the time it was like the Dudley Style Q book. It was Dudley Q book. Of course, my mom always had plenty of books around. But in high school, maybe around the 11th grade, taking a quick photography course just to get an easy A. So I got my first camera, and my father and my mother and father have always supported my endeavors. My father bought me my first lighting kit, a camera with 2 lights on the side. And what happened was in my 12th grade year, my photography teacher didn't come back to the high school, but the classroom was still open, and they dumped me into an art class. And I asked the art teacher if I could just use the photography room, during the class, since I wasn't an art student. He said, yeah. And it just so happened that my photography class time was during all 4 lunches in our high school. So I started inviting all my friends to come over to the photography classroom during their lunch. And, I would take their pictures. It'd be $2 for a shot and $1 for the second one. $3, you can get 2 images. And the next thing I knew, I started having lines out the door, all 4 lunch periods, just shooting pictures of all my friends. And they would come every single day with their lunch money. I'm assuming it was their lunch money, with their new outfit, wherever they got their new outfits. But it was just amazing thing. So that really caught my attention from an entrepreneurial making money perspective. And that I can say that when I used to shampoo hair and do those various things in the beauty salon, I did notice I couldn't stand up as long as my mom could.
Okay.
She would start early in the morning and work till late at night. And I was like, I can't really stand up behind the heads as strong. But the photography was a lot easier for me. And I got real serious about it around the 11th or 12th grade. And then that's what directed me to go to school for it after high school.
That's hilarious. Okay.
Yeah. And what's so funny, if you go on Facebook, if I were to give you some links, some of my friends from high school, they still post those pictures as if we just shot them last week.
Okay.
The day we live in now is very, digital and people like images. So a lot of those pictures, a lot of times they pop right back up.
Right. Yeah. It's like I'm picturing all these kind of skinny kids taking all their lunch money too.
Oh yeah. And it was the late 80s. It was the early 90s. So the big earrings, the goose down coats, the stylish time, back in that era.
Right. Well, that's great. I love, how you just kind of saw another opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, I'm out of the photography class. I'm into the art class. It's like, let me see if I can use the studio, and here we go.
Right.
So, yeah. So it does sound like you were born into it, but
oh yeah.
So fast forward us, where did the name Black Beauty come from, and how did that evolve?
It's been so long. I will tell you that, just based on the way I think in today's time, I would have to say, we were in the beauty industry and we were Black. It was probably one of the most easiest names to come up with at the time. And I don't think at the time anything was really named Black Beauty. So I think at the time that's because it's been a very long time when we came up with that name. So I believe it just came out of just pure necessity of what we were doing. We were doing Black Beauty images, Black Beauty photography. Then, of course, it evolved into the show. So, I believe that's where it actually ultimately came from.
Yeah. Well, if anybody watching has any questions, it's like, this is the time to start throwing them up here. It's like, we appreciate you being here. And I'm enjoying hearing his story and what's, all of the stuff that's transpired so long ago to get him to where he is now. But was it the magazine that came first? Is that correct? The Black Beauty magazine?
The Black Beauty magazine. Yes, that was the the first Black beauty representation from a professional standpoint of view.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what made you start a magazine?
After I graduated from college, before I graduated from college, I interned at Vibe magazine. And so I got a chance to see the New York side of publications and just the excitement of all that. And then when I graduated from college, I worked for a newspaper called the Welcome Mat. And it was just a local newspaper in Philadelphia. And of course, we were the lead photographer there. And then probably within 6 months, they laid off the entire editorial staff. So that's never good when you're fresh out of college, that, because of what you expect from coming out of school. And then once that happened, something in the brain cells clicked in very quickly and said, that'll never happen to me ever again. You won't have the opportunity to ever lay me off. So the idea of taking the experience that I had learned from that Welcome Mat newspaper, and then also the experience that I had from the interning at Vibe magazine, started the inquisitiveness on, man, maybe I can get into that. And I will say that in Philadelphia, I just went back to shooting photos, just being a freelancer. But a friend named Carlos Payne, he was a photographer. He's still a photographer. He's in Philadelphia. He had the magazine called Solid Gold Magazine. Yeah. And he covered the tri-state area, New Jersey, Delaware, and Philadelphia. And he asked me one year to help him do some design work for his publication. And I helped him with that particular publication. And after doing that, I kind of could see, it was like, well, man, I just sat there and designed an entire publication. I am a photographer. Maybe I can get into, shooting the models and also create a publication. And so I would like to shout him out and give him credit for the photographers. We have to represent the photographers, right? That really was doing it way back then. And it's a lot of other photographers that also was doing it back then. But that was the foundation for me as a photographer, finding myself within the beauty industry based on my upbringing in my mom's salon, interning at Vibe magazine, and having the skill set that I had and putting it all together to create something that would be everlasting.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful. And I think, when I think about putting together a magazine, just kind of not even knowing where to start. So it's really cool. Like, you did the internship and, working with Carlos Payne and his publication and really getting the foundation, I guess you could say, before you completely jumped out there. So how did you market it? How did you, you got the printing and all that, you got the photos and all that kind of stuff and the printing and layout and that type of thing. But how did you actually get it marketed?
Yeah. Good old fashioned knocking on some doors. And I will say that at that point in time in my life, my father really stepped in and helped me to go out there, and he knocked on doors. He knocked on salon doors and stylists, telling them, we had a magazine. We were looking for stylists that were interested in featuring themselves in our publication. And, our first publication, and I was extremely proud of it, but it probably had about 8 pages. Okay. The little thin pamphlet, so it was really thin, but it was very, it feels good when you get the first one out, whatever it is that you're doing. Right. And then that just kind of started it. Just, we used to send out a lot of letters to a lot of salon stylists. And I used to knock on a lot of doors. And I will say, in terms of getting it out, distribution wise, in terms of growing, we used to go into the beauty supply stores, and I met this beauty supply guy. He was an African guy, though. They had a beauty supply store, and I was going around to the stores and trying to sell them individually to the stores. Say, hey, can I put 5 or 10 in your store? And he told me, he said, man, you need to go to New York City, and you need to meet with a master distributor or the larger distributors. And he gave me a name of a guy named Charles Park, who was the one of the main sales guys for Nujigu Trading Corporation, Nujigu Hair. And, he gave me the information. I went to New York, met with him, showed him our publication. And from there, they liked it and picked it up. And then, of course, that grew the marketing that much more as well. And then the rest was kind of history from there as we were able to grow from that point.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I hope you guys are taking some notes, because it's like, this stuff, like, who do you ask to learn how to do this? You know what I mean?
Right.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that with us. And, it's like you are a publisher, you are a photographer. What, what does, like when we say representation matters, what does that really mean to you?
Honestly, for me, representation means representing yourself. I think that, like I said earlier, as African Americans, and I'll stay on that side since that's my perspective, I think we've been trained to almost not see ourselves. We're trained to be in the background, and to not take our own self seriously unless somebody else puts some type of approval on us. And so I think that, from my perspective, representation is seeing yourself for who you are. And if you're present, you're representing.
Okay.
And sometimes people don't want you present. And sometimes if they don't want you present, maybe you shouldn't be present, with everything that you bring. So representation, I think, takes on a little bit of a different connotation to me than what's used in the mainstream.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be my answer to that for the most part, without getting too deep into representation.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I like that. I think that's really powerful. And with publications in general, it's like we've actually lost some, powerful Black publications in the last 5-10 years. It's like there's been big shifts, just throughout the publishing community because everything shifted to digital. But, we no longer have Ebony and Jet, through Johnson Publications. It's like, Sophisticate's Black Hair. They're not actually Black owned, but they're no longer, in business basically. What do you feel like what impact do you feel like that has to the Black community and to the Black beauty community?
One thing I would say about that is the people who were publishing those publications or have published publications, for the most part, other than the older ones, the people are still around. The publishers, those that have the wherewithal, the knowledge, the people are still around. I like to separate organizations and industries from the people, because a lot of times we look at an organization, and if an organization or a publication is not there, we feel as though that was the thing, but that wasn't the thing. That was just a manifestation that somebody brought to life. My question would be, where are the publishers? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to believe that some of them are either regrouping, rebranding, restructuring, because the publishing industry has changed. It's not so much that the publishing industry is not there, it's just changed into a digital format. And so I think some organizations have either taken time to restructure their business models. Some organizations might not have even wanted to get into the new digital age, and so they might have folded. But I will say this, as far as African Americans, I mean, there are so many of us out there that I will tell you this. If you mention some of the publications that you just mentioned, Sophisticates, like you say, even though they weren't Black owned, but they did lend a platform and a voice for Black creatives in the beauty industry, and some of the other various publications that are out there. From my perspective, I grew up and did publication when it was all print, right? So I grew up in the industry where to have a digital format was like you were laughed at if your magazine was digital. If you flipped you had to come with print. A certain level of money was spent, certain level of skill set was spent to get that publication out, and it carried a lot of weight. But I will say this: when I look in the industry, there's tons of Black publications. There's actually more Black publications now than there were back then. So if I were to say, did we lose anything? I wouldn't say that we necessarily lost anything. I would say that we need to look at the industry maybe a little bit differently. And if we look at it differently, we'll find that there are more voices than there actually were before. Prime example, before there used to be, let's say, BET, and BET was BET, right?
Right.
Back then, there was no beauty superstars. There was no this platform that you even have. We
Right.
have actually more people being seen digitally through video productions and podcasts than we had 10, 15, 20 years ago. So did we lose anything, or have things shifted? And do we need to look at where we're at in the time frame that we live in? And I think that that's something that we need to think about, is taking a new look at who we are, where we are, what we actually have, and how do we bring it together to be as powerful as it really can be.
Yeah, I love that. And tell me, like, what you see, like, kind of going forward. Like, I see that's like kind of where we are right now. It's like there are a lot of digital platforms, there are a lot of podcasts, and these voices are there, but it's like they don't have like that overarching voice. I think, for the Black community for a long time, Jet was how we got, our news, how we found out what was going on in the beauty industry. We had Shop Talk magazine, which was, I don't remember the distribution numbers, but pretty much every Black salon in the country, subscribed to Shop Talk magazine. And so everybody was able to kind of see what was going on different parts of the country, if not the world. And of course, we can do that digitally, pick up our phone and have access to so much more. But is there a way that we, or what does the future look like in terms of, multiple voices versus a bigger voice versus, whatever may be to come in your world and vision?
Yeah, from my perspective, I honestly think that having the one big voice or the two big voices was a problem, honestly, the way that it was. I think that the good thing is that technology has helped fix that problem. Because if you only have one voice, one magazine or two magazines, or let's just say even 5 magazines, but imagine you got 5,000 publishers. There's a shortage at some point if you only have but so many. So I think that the future is bright for the Black beauty industry. Actually, that was our tagline for the show that we did last August. The future of the Black beauty industry looks bright because we have voices. You can hear these voices. And I think that for some of us who've been around for a while, 20 or 30 years, we're so used to not hearing ourselves and only hearing ourselves from one perspective that we have to retrain our ears. We have to retrain what we're used to seeing as the status quo. A retraining has to happen. So I think that, going forward in the future, those who are willing and able to embrace technology and are willing and able to embrace, especially Black beauty culture, and love it for what it is, whether you're Black, Asian, white, whatever your nationality, doesn't matter. For those who are interested in embracing it, I think the future looks bright for them because they'll get a full benefit and is not restricted to one publication. They can turn on the YouTube and Facebook, and they can learn and gain all the information that they may need to help their careers go forward. So I think the future looks bright and more connected, which is something that we're looking to do with some of our various ventures that we're working on, but bringing it all together where we can show the many facets of the industry that was always there. It was always there. The problem, if you have one publication, is a 100-page publication, maybe 60 to 70% of those pages is editorial, maybe a little less, maybe 40% of those pages are advertising. You're talking about 60 pages that has to represent an entire Black beauty industry. It's not even possible. It's not possible to represent all the wonderful stylists, all the wonderful photographers, all the fashion people. But now with the digital platforms, you can pick and choose any state, city, any microcosm of that and see instantly. Like, that's a beautiful thing for us.
Yeah. And you mentioned the technology. So talk to us about how we can kind of utilize and embrace the technology, through, our voices, through, what we're doing in terms of our work. What do you see, and you mentioned some things that might be coming up in your future. What do you see as far as how hairstylists can really embrace what's going on with technology to their advantage?
Right. Yeah, I think that for hairstylists, one of the things I would say, especially if you're a new hairstylist to the industry, I would say, number one, don't lose your competitive edge. we have Instagram, Facebook, and a lot of the social media platforms. And then, of course, we have our devices, our cell phones and iPads and different things like that allow you to, do photographs of your work, even do photographs of yourself. And they created the selfie and all that 9 yards. And I believe that does allow you to reach people at a particular rate, which is awesome. But to a certain degree, it may not allow you to reach people with the best of your work. Meaning, there is a difference between a great selfie or a great picture that you may shoot yourself with your iPhone versus if you hire an actual professional photographer. Like, that image is going to look that much more better on your IG versus if you maybe shoot it yourself. So, for stylists that are new, that are not used to working with a professional photographer, I would say, hey, you go online and just do hashtag photographers. If you live in Atlanta, if you live in Chicago, do hashtag Chicago photographers. I bet you it's going to be 1,000 photographers that you'll find instantly, where back in the day you had to take the magazine, turn it sideways and look for the little tiny 6-point name. And it was probably only 6 guys or 10 guys, and I might have been one of them that you could hire to shoot your images, to where now there's thousands that you can get your hands on quickly. So I would encourage the new stylists to find those photographers, look them up through the hashtags. For the older stylists that's saying, hey, they want to continue their career, I would say, hey, most of the photographers that were around back then, they're still around right now. You just got to find their handle on Instagram and Facebook and all that 9 yards. But yeah, I would encourage, anybody, even the fashion people and the makeup artists, find who you need, find that hairstylist, find that photographer. Just do the hashtag DC makeup artists. They're all going to pop up. And I mean, pretty much everybody that's on the new school side of things, they kind of know these things. But for those that have been around that maybe haven't gotten too acclimated with the Instagram or various social media platforms, I would just encourage them, just search the people out. They're much easier to find nowadays than they used to be. And then I also would say, give people a chance, give them a shot, because it might be much better than what you might think they are in today's time with the technology and all.
Okay.
Yeah.
And any tips? Like, I know I loved, doing photo shoots and, working with photographers, the lighting, the makeup artists, the, putting the fashions and all that kind of stuff together. So there's still that excitement, but there's not quite that, waiting for the publication to come out kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But what would you share with folks who might be looking for a professional photographer as a beauty artist? What are some of the things that they should look for in the person's work or in the conversation that they have?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
compatible.
Yeah, if you can find various photographers that that's in your area, you might find somebody that's in your area, so it might be easier for you to talk to them as well as to meet up with them or what have you. But just look at their work. If you look at the work and it resonates with you, it's a style that you may say, hey, I would love for my work to look like that as well. I would use that as a starting place. You want it to fit. You want it to have a certain connection to your work as well. And then also, if you guys do a collaboration together, it benefits everybody's portfolio. Makes everybody's Instagram page looks better, or whatever platform that you're using to display the work. So I would just suggest find people who has work that's similar to the work that you want to have in your portfolio. And that would most probably take you to that next level. And even if you outgrow that person, you say, hey, I'm ready for my work to go to a whole nother level, just find that next photographer that has that style that you're looking for. As many of the stylists know, there's a difference between, maybe a NAHA type of competition in the style of photography that they use versus, some basic editorial work that you might find in some of the fashion publications. So it's just a matter of finding photographers that's used to shooting the style that you like. And then also, like I said, even be willing to give people a chance. You might see a photographer, his work is great, the style don't match, but just show him what you're going for. Maybe he can match that style. It might open it up for him. So I think the key word to all of that is collaboration, and be willing to collaborate. And I think that'll make it, much easier and more professional for everybody.
Yeah. Those are good tips. And anything for just someone who's like, I really need a good headshot, anything that they should look for in particular, because that is a key thing with our digital age.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Once again, just look at the work.
Okay.
Just look at the work because, and I say that because, like I said, 10, 15 years ago, it was hard to look at the work because everybody didn't have websites necessarily. People just weren't as accessible as they are now. And to find a great headshot photographer back in the day it would be a little difficult. It would cost you a lot of money, to where now hashtag Atlanta headshot photographer, New York headshot photographer, they're going to almost probably pop up, find a headshot that resonates with you, or speak to a friend. You might have a friend that has a photographer, and you say, hey, dude, can you give me his name? Like you mentioned your headshot. We shot that some time ago. And if anybody needs a headshot, hey, Mickey knows a great photographer.
Yes, she does.
Mickey knows great. She knows many great photographers.
Yeah.
So sometimes just reach out to your friends who are already doing it, who already know the ropes. And I'm pretty sure they can point you in the right direction, to get your hands on a great headshot photographer.
Yeah. I've definitely been blessed to work with some of the best in the industry. So,
oh yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And I know I'm overdue, so that's probably the next conversation. Right?
Well, I will say this one thing about, if you do work with a good photographer, you'll get some good mileage out of those headshots and out of that work. The work will most probably be timeless. And so definitely if they seek out some professional photographers, they'll probably get some good mileage out of it.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely been the case, and thank goodness with COVID and all of that coming in the midst. So.
Some of the photographers, they're doing your photo shoots right over the internet nowadays. They'll tell you where to put the camera at and compose it for you. Oh yeah, there's some photographers that really took it to the next level through the midst of the pandemic.
Okay, wow, that's interesting.
Oh yeah, that's not my forte, but I have seen it. It looks pretty good.
Yeah, well, let's shift gears into the Black Beauty Expo. So how did that, like, you had the magazine, how did you get started with the expo? And tell us, about the expo and why it was important to have everybody included in terms of it.
Right. I will say the inclusion at this stage of the game, as far as the various industries, has been a transition at this point in time. When we first started the show back in 2008, we were in Richmond, Virginia. But I've always been the type of person that wherever I was at, and I was in Richmond, Virginia, I always thought, like, wherever I was at, that at that time we needed a show in that area because we didn't have a show. As many hairstylists know, that the annual trip for hairstylists once or twice a year would be coming down to Atlanta, we're actually based in Atlanta now, but would be to come down maybe to the Bronner Brothers show and doing that twice a year. And at the time I was in Virginia, and it was like, well, why can't we have something here? And so I started the Black Beauty Expo 2008. And at the time it was focused on the hair industry. But over the course of time, especially within the last couple of years, one thing that always stood out to me, even though I'm the son of a beauty professional, a hairstylist, I'm a photographer, but I always found myself working with a lot of hairstylists, and I know hair. I grew up in the hair industry, but it always stood out strange to me that, the passion that I had for the hair industry, through the shows and all that 9 yards. And one thing that stood out was the fact that when we're on sets, like we have our studio here, when we're on sets, there's always a hairstylist there, a photographer, a makeup artist, a model, and a fashion stylist on set. And when I thought about our show, I was like, we're cutting ourselves short as an industry, because technically we always all work together, photographers, models, makeup artists, but the shows weren't necessarily representing that. So I wanted to transition our show to match the time. It's 2021. Everything from the photographers, the models, and each individual area. It's so many of us, but we didn't have representation. We didn't have that show that showed the fullness of the Black beauty industry. That showed, and the goal is to show it equally as well. So that's where we have transitioned to with the Black Beauty Expo. And so we try to make room for each individual group and to grow it so that as an overall industry, we can be truly represented in its fullness.
Yeah, that's beautiful because I think you're absolutely right. You know, it does take a village.
Mm,
You know, it was like we saw our favorite celebrities, I guess you could say, without their glam squad
right.
over the pandemic. You know, and it's like, you know, the hairstylist and the makeup artist and, you know, the photography and, you know, like you say, the fashion stylist. All those pieces have to work together to make it so that it, you know, so that you have this fabulous finish, you know what I mean?
Right. Right.
So I think,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's kind of brilliant to bring all those industries together. So with the Black Beauty Expo, what has it evolved into now? You know, what can people expect in August?
Yeah, one of the things that's much different is I would say you will notice uh, much more entrepreneur spirits. Like I think because of the pandemic, like people that either lost their regular jobs or their regular careers that they had, they everybody had to kind of get creative. And we have our makeup nowadays is a lot of young businesses, a lot of young entrepreneurs. They're doing everything from fashion, you know, creating their own fashion brands and apparel to their own beauty brands, whether it's soaps, whether it's uh, uh, what is it, bath body bombs, you know, all these things, you know, all the parts that actually make up the beauty industry that women love as well as men, you know, when it comes to beautifying themselves. So rather than our show being totally focused on hair, where we have, you know, tons of hair manufacturers or hair tool companies or more, you know, technical side of hair. We're much more on the beauty side. And I will say that that's one of the things that we wanted to change with the show as well, is rather than the show be so technical oriented, I wanted it to be much more entrepreneurial because, you know, we're all technicians in our own right, and we know how to do what we do with our hands, but it's the business side that's going to take us where we need to be. So I wanted the show to have a much more entrepreneurial side to it. And so we try to curtail a lot of our classes around that, and the makeup has gone that direction in terms of our vendors, and we still do have the traditional vendors with whether it's hair or whether it's some of the tools or what have you, but much more small business entrepreneurs representing themselves and you know, from their beauty Black beauty products and all that 9 yards.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really cool because, you know, just like we were talking about the publications, the hair care manufacturers, it's like we don't have as many of like the big giants, but we also have, you know, a lot of smaller, you know, if you will, mom and pop type of operations where people are starting in the kitchen and getting their formulas together and people are loving it. So I think it's wonderful, you know, to have space for all of these, you know, newer entrepreneurs to really get their, you know, like you say, the soaps and the hair care products and, you
Oh
know,
yeah, I
apparel.
love it. I bought me a nice. I had a nice bundle when I left.
Okay.
I thought it was wonderful. They had a section for men. I was like, man, what's that? Like, you know.
Okay. Right.
So you know, it's refreshing, and to me, it's a wonderful thing. I just have a heart for entrepreneurs, you know, and so, you know, we try to make it affordable for them as well. That's another thing. You know, I just love it to be able to see them do their first show. I love when I get those phone calls and they say, "Hey, this is my first show," and you know, we trying to slow walk them through the process, and they're very excited, and they got that fear that every entrepreneur has when they're starting out, and it's a wonderful thing just to see them do what they're doing in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah.
That's my thing is, you know, we did our show last year, last August. We had a live show with people, a physical show. We followed all the mandates and guidelines and wide aisles and everything. And my thing, you know, I just loved seeing the people that came out with their business.
Right.
Like I said, we, you know, honestly, as African Americans in the country, of course, you know, we're built for survival. Like this is not really new to us. We're kind of used to having to survive and to hustle and to make a way. And so I was very proud and happy to do what I did, to do that show, to do a live show, to do it at the level that I do what I do on, to make a platform for them to do what they do on. You know, and so we were excited about that, to see them be able to introduce their businesses and what have you. And we look forward to getting this.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, it's coming up pretty quickly. So it's a 1 day show. It's in Atlanta. And what else do people need to know to come and, participate with the show? Whether they are coming to attend it, which we hope
Right.
lots and lots of folks will, and whether they're coming for classes, whether they're coming to or wanting to vend, what can they have to look forward to?
Yeah, definitely. Depending on which way you come in, we have our general admission, which allows you to come onto the trade floor. You can patronize all of our vendors, and find out about the latest products, the newest companies, and everything that they have going on. We have another level of ticket, which allows you to take classes or what have you. If you are already an entrepreneur or looking to get into the industry, we have business classes for you. We also do have some technique classes if you are let's say a hairstylist or natural hair care or what have you, or in the makeup industry. So we do have classes as well. And then we also have a ticket where if you want to enjoy our entertainment, which is our fashion show we do at night. Generally, that starts around 6 p.m. So you might say, hey, I want to do the whole day. I want to take up some classes here. I want to patronize the vendors, find out what's going on, as well as enjoy the entertainment at night, which is our fashion show. Throughout the day, we will have various competitions going on as well. We have body paint competitions for the makeup artists. We have a dream team competition for the fashion designers and their whole dream team, with photographer, model, makeup artists, and all. We will have some hair competitions as usual as well. So we have a little eclecticness going on of the beauty industry. And I think anybody that comes through will enjoy themselves. It'll be refreshing, especially as we see the country opening back up. We'll do what we've always done. We'll represent Black beauty. We will be active and activated. And we hope that everybody also can, come out and enjoy themselves in a safe, enjoyable, and prosperous show.
Yeah. Well, that sounds really exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, with just going for the whole day, getting the education in, patronizing the vendors, attending the nighttime functions, and then the competitions all day. I love that kind of environment as well.
Right, right.
Yeah, but it sounds like a lot of fun, and so I'm definitely excited about it. So we had a special promotion that you offered that was extremely generous. So tell us about that.
Oh, yeah. For anybody that's watching tonight, and if you have some friends, call them up real quick now. We're giving all those viewers and those who are able to tie in tonight free general admission tickets. You'll be able to come into the show, enjoy the vendors that we have, and find out about all the great things that they have for you. And it's free. And I believe, Mickey, you have we did give you the code. We give you the code, the discount code.
Yeah, I'm about to give it to you right now. So you guys ready? It's Black Beauty 365. So tell us what to do with that.
Okay, yeah. So all you have to do is visit blackbeautyexpo.com, and it's for the Atlanta August 1st show. And once you go to the buy your tickets page, just click on where it says general admission ticket, and then once you put all your information and put that discount code in, and then it'll give you a free ticket to the show.
Yay.
Oh, yeah.
That sounds simple enough. So love it. Thank you so much for your generosity. We
Absolutely.
Really
Absolutely.
Yeah. I want to share some of the comments that we've been getting. It's like, we appreciate you guys being here. It's like they're coming right on in. So it's like, I'll just share a few, and we'll keep everything moving with getting just more of your feedback and perspectives on everything. So Michelle Swinney McComb says, hello, Miss Wright. Sherbert Ratcliffe is here. Ratliff, and it says, this is great. And we have greetings from Coatesville, Pennsylvania, which is DeVita, Washington. Welcome.
Coatesville, Pennsylvania. We'll be doing Black Beauty Expo October 24th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So hopefully she can make it out to that show.
Whoop, whoop. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw something from her earlier saying we need a show in Philly. So
yeah, we'll be there.
Coming. So you heard it here first, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Marcy Miles, hi, Mickey. I'm from Maryland tonight. Glad to support your amazing endeavors, your friend and business associate, Marcy Miles Clark. And definitely check out, it's like she and her husband are now best-selling authors. Her husband went through a really pretty harrowing COVID experience, and
Okay.
they share. She put together all types of prayer visuals, and gratefully, it's like I literally witnessed a miracle last year. So they
Wow,
have a
that's awesome.
best-selling book, "Praying Wife, Healed Husband," on
Wow, that sounds
Amazon. So
awesome.
check it out. Yeah, definitely. So thanks, Marcy. Appreciate the support. And Sherbet says, "Welcome, Weldon."
Thank you.
And yeah, we've got what do they call that? Autocorrect everywhere.
Mm.
Tawana Downs is here. Thank you so much, Brother Bond,
All
from Kafele.
right. Pele, my brother.
Yes, Samantha Dixon Slaughter is here. Says good night. Black Beauty Culture of Nova Scotia. Thank you so much for being here. She says, "Wow, what a revelation," which I don't know exactly where that fit in, but we're glad that you got some revelation. Facebook user says, "Hey, Mickey, love it. Thanks for coming on and sharing, Weldon." And if you are on Facebook and you want us to know your name, at the bottom of the StreamYard listing for this event, it'll actually say you can give them permission. So you don't have to, but just to let you know if you'd like to. And Black Beauty Culture of Nova Scotia says, "How can we form a choir with all these individual voices?" So I love that. That's a beautiful thought. Any thoughts from you, Mr. Bond?
Yeah, the Black Beauty Choir. Hey,
okay.
We can connect them real quick.
Don't give them any ideas.
Really
You'll have a new entrepreneurial endeavor.
I will tell them I have a website. It's called the Ministry of Beauty, and it actually deals with the ministry side of things. So that would fit the choir side very, very well.
Yeah, beautiful. As you are a ordained minister, is that accurate?
Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So lots of talents in there and callings. And so Ikshep Shin, if I'm saying that right, Ikshep Shin says professional photography is definitely worth the investment, whether money or time. And they also say if low on money, invest in professional photography. Ask if they do TFP, trade for pictures. So that's really good stuff. So collaboration, and I think this is hashtag collaboration. And here's Davita asking, Philadelphia area needs a good beauty hair show. So Black Beauty Expo answers the call.
We will be there.
So tell us the dates again.
Virginia, Philadelphia is October 24th, and Richmond, Virginia is October 10th. And then, of course, Atlanta is August 1st.
Okay. And just as a reminder, if anyone is interested in educating at any of those different locations, to start to contact me. And it's at classes at Black Beauty Expo, and we'll take your information and go from there. And Black Beauty Culture of Nova Scotia says she's been there to the Black Beauty Expo in Virginia. So yay.
Oh, it's a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. People traveling all over. It's like, thanks, Miss Wright, because I was wondering why I kept saying at Facebook user. Okay, that's D Isaac. So thank you so much, D. Yes, it's like that's a quick fix for that. So thank you for everyone for being here. And what I want to just ask now is, what's next for you, Weldon Bond, and Black Beauty Expo, and the Black Beauty movement. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, I will say one of the things that I'm interested in doing and that we're working on, I will say with the Black Beauty Expo, I'm interested in having the Black Beauty Expo in at least 20 different cities. For anybody that's watching, if you go to our website, I believe there's a link there that says join the tour, the BB Expo tour. And we have about 20 cities that's listed, everything from Philadelphia, Virginia, Atlanta, I believe Texas, LA. We're interested in establishing the Black Beauty Expo in at least a very minimum 20 different cities. And so we're asking anybody that's able, that want to be a part of what we're doing, to contact us. We'd love to establish the Black Beauty Expo in your city. Even if you're not one of the top 20 that we have already listed, we love to see the Black Beauty Expo. Honestly, I love to see it in every state, in every city where we are already at, because there's so many of us as beauty professionals in every city that there is, that I believe every state and every city could have its own Black Beauty Expo because we're already doing the work. So that's one of the things that I'm working on right now is establishing the Black Beauty Expo and then getting it throughout the country. Also, one of my newest ventures is the Black Beauty Institute, where from a representation perspective, you mentioned earlier, I'm interested in introducing the Black Beauty Institute, which will not just be a standalone school, but I really wanted to be an interconnected organization where we tie in with all Black-owned beauty schools or Black-owned educational systems, where we can be represented within the educational systems. I want to be able to go to, let's say, if you have your job fairs at various schools coming out of high school and entering into college, I want to be able to have the Black Beauty Institute representing there. I want a table where we're saying, hey, you can also go to the Black Beauty Institute and you can learn hair, you can learn photography, you can learn modeling, you can learn makeup, you can learn these various things. But I will say that one of the ways I want to do it, though, is I want to tie in with the schools and the business owners that are already out there to give them that much more visibility, because it is all about representation. If nobody knows you exist, it's kind of hard to make an impact. So we want to use the Black Beauty Institute as a platform to make all of these schools that already exist, all the educators that are already doing the work, we want to give them visibility. And then we want to represent ourselves well from the Black beauty industry perspective. And that's one of the main things that we're working on right now. And I will say, creatively, what I want to see happen is the standardized textbook for the Black Beauty Institute. I really want that to be the Black Beauty Bible, which will be our textbook with all of our information from all the various disciplines. And so that's one of my dreams, my goals. Right now, I guess I can call it one of my legacy pieces, that hopefully we can see a fullness of representation of Black beauty throughout, the country, and I will say also throughout the world.
Yeah, powerful. Yeah, it's like I definitely love the vision, and with the Black Beauty Institute, making sure that there is a level of curriculum for being that entrepreneur or becoming that entrepreneur that basically sets people up for success, because a lot of times that's not included or really skimmed over in a traditional beauty school setting anyway. Right. So that part of the equation.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I will say I'm not too familiar with, I'm only really familiar with Black salons and, the way I grew up. And the way I grew up, a lot of stylists, when they would come into our salons, you went from maybe being a shampoo person for a little while, if you were that, to being a booth renter. Like, you went into full-blown entrepreneurism like fairly quickly. It was non-negotiable just because of the way the business models were for a lot of the Black salons. And so that's kind of hard to do if the schools are not teaching you entrepreneurism, if they're not really teaching you that business side on a certain level. So I do think that, for the most part, if you are a Black hairstylist or someone that's especially if you're catering to doing a lot of Black hair, if you're going to end up in a Black salon, if you're going to end up, let's say, in my mom's salon, which she still has and own, there's some entrepreneurial sides you're going to have to understand. So we want to just make sure that people are getting the proper training from that perspective, because of what we know we look for from our stylists. And of course, people like yourself, Mickey, who wrote the book on these things, everything from putting out flyers and creating all these things. When I was a child, I didn't mention it, but I was doing all those things with my mom, putting the flyers underneath the windshield wipers. And that's all part of entrepreneurship. That's all part of business. Like, it's not just all about curling hair or just pushing the camera button. If you're a photographer, it's that business side. And I will say that I know from my own life and career that was probably one of the biggest wake-up calls, because I went to a technical school. I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, where I took up photography, and the business class was extremely minimal, and I was not prepared for the realities of the quote-unquote the business world. You just kind of think, hey, I get my degree, I'll go out and I'll just get a job. But what happens if you don't get a job? Like, how are we taking that skill set and monetizing it? And so that's one of the things that I think that a lot of people that go into the creative industries or any really technical industry, they're trained as technicians, but they're not trained to be entrepreneurs, and that can be a slight problem. So I'm not interested in anybody that's entering into at least the Black beauty industry, not having the tools to carry out their skills that they have and be able to survive in the American economy that we have to live in, or that we do live in. It's not mandatory to live here, but if you're going to live here, you better understand capitalism and the creative entrepreneur side of things. And so that's what I'm interested in, having that platform that caters to our learning and all that 9 yards.
Yeah. It's like, well, we're definitely looking forward to that, and definitely want to be, part of it, supporting that movement going forward as well. But yeah, I think definitely preparing people for, the realities of the industry and the realities of business ownership is really, really key. So yeah, that's very cool. And like you say, it's like we go in as technicians or learn, a certain craft or what have you. And then it's like the surprise, like, oh, okay, well, how do I get clients? And, it's like we're in a digital age. So it's like there's tools that we have available, and sometimes we're utilizing them well, and sometimes we're not. So even from the technology standpoint.
Yeah, I would like to say, just to kind of give some more information to people that are, entering into the creative entrepreneur space. One thing that I think that we have to be careful not to do is, don't necessarily look at other people's success, quote unquote success. I think that can be a hindrance to your own personal growth, your own personal life. I think that there's a certain amount of people, and I'm a spiritual person, so I like to say there's a certain amount of people that God has for you. There's certain clients they're already your clients. You just haven't met them yet. You just have to let them come into your life. I like to tell makeup artists, like when I think about Oprah, and she has her makeup artist, and I believe you know his name. But it's like, Derek Rush is right. So, you're most probably not going to take Derek's spot, and I like to tell people, listen, you go find your own Oprah, find that person that's new. He's been there for a while. Like, find somebody that's new in the industry that you believe in, and that you say, hey, I'll be your hairstylist, I'll be your photographer, I'll be your makeup artist. I don't need you to be at the top of your game. I'll be right here when you're starting, because what happens when that person turns into whoever, So I like to encourage people to enjoy the people that you meet, take care of your clients, take care of the people that are in your life, because you never know who they're going to become. You never know who they are. Like, these people are there for a reason. Don't blow them off because you're looking at this guy and you want their client and you want, your people to be like that. Just take your people and build a career, and let the career be more about relationships. And that's honestly how, what gave me the confidence when I first started the Black Beauty Expo, just to go back a little bit, was I knew so many hairstylists because of the publication, and I think at the time you had just moved to Richmond, Virginia. Yeah. And I'm like, we have a Mickey here in Virginia and Richmond. I was excited. It was, so when you meet people, it allows you to do, the next level of your career. So just, respect the people that's in your life already and build on the foundation that you have.
Yeah, I think you're so right. You just brought to mind a couple of things. So one, it's like we did a clubhouse last night, and it's really so much about being a creative entrepreneur is about personal development. And I think you really touched on that well. It's like we definitely have to keep growing, out of things like, what do they call it? When you're the envy or what have you of like, oh, well, this person's doing that, compare and despair, I think is the word I'm looking for, where, we're scrolling through and it's like, oh, well, this person has that and they're doing that and all of that. And it's like, we just spiral down instead of being able to be who we are, and so really focusing on, becoming who you need to become to be that person, who do you need to become to be the person, that, Oprah's makeup artist or whomever's makeup artist, and really embodying all of that. And another thing, you were talking about the relationships, and I think it's so key. I have one of my former clients, they've actually named a middle school after her in Maryland. And And when, it's like I was able to see, some interviews and things that were done with her. She had passed already. And there was so much that I never knew about her, and her life and the impact and all that she made. But it was like the beauty salon was like the retreat, that
Wow.
we just made them feel comfortable. There were three of them that were really good friends, and I knew they were all powerful women, but I didn't know all the particulars, and I didn't know their stories and all that they had been through. But it's, just really interesting. Like, if I was busy trying to find somebody who was, the it person, I'm stepping
Right.
over the people who are the it people,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a thing, sometimes we just, and of course in today's time we have social media, and so we do get to see a lot, and I think that's one of those double-edged swords with social media. You can
Right.
see so much that you're just going after too much. You see too much. Like, I think that sometimes you do just have to just slow down, be a participant. It's okay to be a participant in social media. It's okay to have goals, but set the goal and don't move the goalposts. Just like, don't see something new tomorrow, then all of a sudden we have a new goalpost. Like, no,
Right.
set the goal, let's meet the goal, and then let's go on to the next thing. I would like to say that as a creative entrepreneur, I'd like to speak to that from a few seconds here, is that one of the things that I've learned over my career with the ups and downs is that as a creative entrepreneur, you do have to be able to do what I like to call to downshift your lifestyle, be willing and able to downshift your lifestyle. To me, I believe that gives you some of the most powerful flexibility as a creative entrepreneur. Whether you have to move from one city to another city, whether you have to move from this house to that house, from this car to that car, being flexible becomes very key and very powerful to have a sustaining career as a creative entrepreneur. So I would like to throw that out there for anybody that may, be going through some things, especially with the pandemic, and they're trying to figure out, well, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I handle this? And sometimes you might have to move. You might have to get up out of the city you're in, go to another city that can accommodate where your finances are. Or I will say that when I first came down to Atlanta from Virginia, at the time was around 2010, but that was after I think it was the whatever happened, the financial crash in 2008. And I was in Virginia, but Virginia, the type of town it wasn't the type of town that could sustain my photography. So I had to make a choice, and the choice was either going to be New York City, which we know is a very high-end fashion and photography town, or it was going to be Atlanta, which I knew to be a strong beauty town and young people, which I was in the beauty industry as well. And I made the decision based on, I had kids at the time, and I didn't want to take them to the concrete jungle of New York while I was trying to beat the pavement. So I decided to come down to Atlanta, but it was the greatest thing that allowed me to rebrand myself, which you spoke about earlier, as Weldon Bond. People down here know me as Weldon Bond. People up north know me as Germaine. So you can always tell who knows me from where. But sometimes you do have to just be able to rebrand yourself. And rebranding yourself is not necessarily a financial statement. We have people like Diddy, who changes his name every so often. It's not necessarily financial. It's just fun. Sometimes it's fun it gives you a new spark to see yourself differently, to respect your own self, and to give your own self your titles. One other thing I would like to add also as a creative entrepreneur, especially as a Black creative entrepreneur, it really does matter. You have to be willing to redefine some things and to make up your own definitions of what success is, or what your goals are, or even your definition of what an entrepreneur is. Like, you really have to be able and be willing to redefine the language that you live up under, because the reality is the language that we actually live up under, somebody else came up with those words. They came up with those definitions, and a lot of us try to fit those definitions that for some reason they don't always fit. So, I would like to encourage all of our creative entrepreneurs to be willing to say, you know what, that definition don't fit me, so I'm going to redefine this. If you were to have said Black beauty industry, or even the Black beauty industry maybe 5-10 years ago, it's hairstylists. Hairstylists dominated the beauty industry for a very long time. Rightfully so. Hairstylists been putting in work for a long time. But right now, I took the opportunity to say, well, the Black beauty industry is bigger than just hairstylists. It's also photographers. It's also the makeup artists. It's actually the nail techs as well. So I would like to encourage the creative entrepreneurs in your particular field and in your own personal life, be willing to redefine things and teach a new generation your definition of what success means, or what this means, or what that means. And you'll play a wonderful part in this industry we love that we call beauty and Black beauty.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful place to end this. It's like, this has just been fabulous. I think that is definitely something, some meat to chew on.
Oh yeah.
Because we do have to be willing to reinvent. We have to be willing to, like you say, redefine what success looks like, and sometimes relocate. So
yeah,
more hours.
mm-hmm.
But yeah. And I think that, like you say, it's like it can open a lot of doors. And if you're feeling stuck, that is the thing to do, is like to look to see what needs to shift.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, really powerful. So thank you so much. It's like, any other parting words or anything, or words of inspiration?
I'm trying to think. I think I got most of them out. I try to get them out while it's on my mind. I'm just always an advocate and an encourager of any creative entrepreneurs out there. So, once again, I just encourage everybody to be encouraged. Feel free to reach out to us at any point in time. We'd love to talk to you if you need any information. I'm fairly actually accessible. I probably need to make myself a little less accessible so I can be a little bit more focused. However, but we're here for you. We're here for the Black beauty industry. This is what we've been doing for the last couple of decades. So if you want an advocate in the Black beauty industry, this is what we're here for, and we're here for everybody.
Yay! Thank you so much for that. I'm going to share a few more things that people are sharing. So Virginia L. Brown says, thanks for the information. Awesome. Davida will be there at the Philadelphia show. So yay. And you've got a new hashtag here.
Black
Beauty Choir.
Love it.
And Jalea Pettis says, yes, we are everywhere. And Jalea is going to be one of my upcoming guests. So next Tuesday, stay tuned for all that she has to share with us.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and Black Beauty Culture of Nova Scotia wants us to come to Nova Scotia, Canada.
We're coming to Canada. We're getting global. Hey, that's it. That's a win.
Okay, yes. And we've got Dave Ray in the house, who says he's hard committed worker.
New York City. God bless you, Dave.
Yep. Yes. Yep. New York on the map. Okay. It looks like D. Isaac got her name on there. So thank you. And she says, amen. There's a yes. You're a real big yes. And looks like Mr. Floyd Kenyatta, one of my mentors, is in the house. He says, very good interview. Thank you so much for being here.
Soldiers in the house.
Yes. Absolutely. And let's see here. We've got D. Isaac, powerful. I love it. Mm-hmm. And Davida Washington. I really enjoyed the conversations. Thank you both. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for, being so active with communicating with us. It's like it's an honor and a pleasure to have Mr. Weldon Bond here, and to, just hear more about what Black Beauty is all about, and Black Beauty Expo and all of the things that are coming is a lot. So it's like we got a lot to look forward to. So I'm happy to be involved and able to help move the mission forward as well. So I want to thank you guys for being here. I want to share a few things with you, and we will say goodnight. It's like, if you have missed any of our last series, we did hair loss. We've done a series on textured hair. We've done a series on salon success. All those things are this year, plus everything that we've done last year. You can check them all out on beautysuperstars.com. Or you can actually go to my YouTube channel, which is Mickey Wright, which is just 1K, MIKIWRIGHT, if I can spell my own name. And then you can also listen to some of the podcast on Beauty Superstars. If you look for Beauty Superstars Talk on your favorite podcast station, you can find them there. If you're interested in partnering with us, it's like you can just visit Beauty Superstars Talk, beautysuperstars.com and look for the red button. And Thursday, don't forget, I will be back again this week, another doubleheader with Corinne Corbett, who's a former beauty editor and / editor in chief. And so she's got some really powerful things to share with us, and a little bit about her podcast as well. Start right here and what that is all about. And then next Tuesday, as I mentioned, Jalea is in the house tonight, Jalea Pettis, and I will talk then. It's like she's an editorial makeup artist. She is a founder and visionary of 3J Productions, if I'm getting all of this right. And she is always an advocate for, making sure that everybody that's working behind the scenes is well taken care of and well represented. So we can't wait to talk to her. And then Wednesday, I'll be back with Black Colorist Matter founder Jessica Kidd. So we'll do kind of a mini, like a 30-minute pop-up talk. So I can't wait to revisit with her.
Collaboration with her.
Oh yeah. It's interesting. Like, the world in this industry can be small and large all at the same time.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so if you are in a salon suite or thinking about it, it's like, don't forget, I have a free guide, salon suite success guide. So you can download that at beautysuperstars.com as well. And on Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern, I will be on the Savvy Salon Summit, teaching a class there along with 11 other educators over 3 days. It's a free event. So I invite you guys to sign up. It's like you can go to my Linktree, linktree.com/Mickey Wright, and get your registration for free. Or if you want to, upgrade to the all access pass, it'll give you all the details there. So I look forward to seeing you guys a lot over the next couple weeks. So busy month here. And then just a little FYI, it's like next month, what is it? That's June. June 15th will be the celebration of our anniversary. And so Mickey is going to be on the hot seat that evening and be interviewed. So So we will celebrate our first anniversary for Beauty Superstars Talk, and I'm super excited. And I have some special guests who will be interviewing me and maybe roasting me. So we'll see. So I will look forward to seeing you guys. Appreciate the support, and look forward to seeing you on Thursday. So take great care. Everyone have a wonderful evening. Thank you again, Weldon Bond.
Absolutely.
We appreciate all that you are doing for the Black beauty industry. It's like we are very excited and very encouraged. And so thank you all. D. Isaac says congratulations. So thank you all, and got lots of thank yous. So thank you, everyone. We'll see you soon. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much for that as well. Take good care.
God bless.